Hey, happy Sunday and welcome back. I hope you guys are ready to dance again because I'm really dancing. My spirit is really dancing, and I'm very happy to join you guys again on another Sunday. This is Lady Black. I am Lady Black LightWorker, and I'm here to hopefully create a community of people who are healing and supporting each other in their healing. Welcome back to Ready to Dance Again. I have some notes from last week that I'll be referring to, so when you see me looking down, just know that that's because I am reading my notes, because I want to make sure that I get everything out to you that has come to me over the last week, and as a result of starting this journey with you guys. Hi. How are you? How are you feeling today? Where's your spirit? Did you check in with yourself? Did you examine your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body? Have you asked yourself what you need today? Have you asked yourself what you want from your day? Have you asked yourself, what are you willing to give today? I hope you're having conversations with self, because it is these conversations that we have with self. Stumbling over my words. It's those conversations that we have with self that start us on our journey toward healing. And if you remember last week, the question that I left you with was, are you healing? Are you? And the question we want to answer today was, how? How do you start a healing journey? How do we put ourselves on the path towards our greatest version of self? So before we get into everything that we're going to get into today, and I'm going to do my best to keep it as short as possible, but as poignant and as chock full of information as possible. But before we get into that, I wanted to go back to last week when we discussed the healing modalities that I'm blessed to use and to thrive in and to share with the world. And I forgot something. I forgot something very, very important. And what I forgot was the word. Not the word as in the Bible, or the word as in the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita. It's the word that God gives us. Our mouth, our tongue, how we speak, and what we use with what we do with those words, our tones. I have been given words. Words come to me. That's why I write poetry. That's how I'm able to speak to you guys, because words just come to me. And sometimes I have to sit and wait to listen and hear what is supposed to be said. And sometimes they just flow through me easily, brilliantly, effortlessly. But words come to me, and the words that come to me are sent to me for someone. I don't always share them with people because I don't always know who it's for, which is one of the reasons why I started the YouTube channel, because hopefully the words that I'm given I can share with the world, and whomever it needs to hear it will receive it and will benefit from it. So yes, I'm able to write poetry quite effortlessly. I'm also able to speak quite effortlessly because words just come to me. And sometimes they come to me as downloads. Well, they always come as downloads, but sometimes they come to me in the middle of the night, or when I'm not even focused on something spiritual. They'll just show up, they'll just appear, and I'll just have to sit still and receive what's being said. A lot of the messages are definitely for me, but there's no message that is only for one person. Messages are always to be shared, and when you receive one, I would love it if you could share those messages with me, because it could enrich my life, and it could motivate me, it could bolster my spirit. And hopefully the words that you received from me and the words that you will continue to receive from me will bolster your spirit and will enrich your life and will help you to become the best version of yourself. I wanted to emphasize that because I did write a book of poetry, and I do continue to write poetry and will write more books of poetry. But the word is something that came to me very young, around the same time that the light came, around 11, 12, 13. And I was just practicing. Like, I thought I would be a rapper, thought I would be Maya Angelou, and I would just sit with a pen and just write down the things that came to me and formulate those words into something that sounded rhythmic. And I spent a long time performing at spoken word showcases, at open mics throughout New York City. And I had a ball. It was great. It was very empowering for me. And I realized while I was doing youth development that the words I speak really was impactful for my young people. And hopefully I can bring those words to the world. Well, I am. And if ever you need an encouraging word, type it in the comments. Say encouraging in the comments, and I will send you an encouraging word. I will sit with spirit and but I will sit with spirit to receive the word that needs to come to you. So type encouraging in the comments, and we'll start a communication of word, of spirit word. What's interesting is that there has been some studies on the word. There have been some studies on the healing power of words. If you know, you can say something in different ways. So the tonality of words, that also is connected to sound healing, because your tone is a sound, it's a vibration, and you can heal with your vibration, you can heal with sound. So all of these modalities of healing are very much connected to each other. We use them all together. We can use them all together at one moment, or we can use them each individually, depending on the person, or depending on the person receiving or the person giving. So I just wanted to make sure I included that and make sure that you knew that, so that if ever we have an encounter and we're ever able to speak to each other, you will know that when I speak to people, especially when dealing with matters of spirit and heart, I take the time to breathe into spirit and to speak from spirit and speak with light. And I pray over this message today. I pray that it is received in spirit and in light. I pray that it bolsters you and encourages you and motivates you and fills you up. And I pray that I am being used to the greater good of the whole, to the greater good of God, the Most High. And let's get into it. So the question that came to me while I was going throughout my week was to share with you and to ask you this week was, what do you want out of life? What do you want out of life? We don't always ask ourselves that. Sometimes we live life by the seat of our pants. Sometimes we're kind of wishy-washy or willy-nilly. Sometimes we don't even know that there are questions we should ask ourselves, because we just do what we've been told to do. We go to school, we go to college, we get a job. We are questioned about what our interests are, but we don't necessarily ask the deeper questions about what we want out of life, or even what do we need to do to have a fulfilling life. We're kind of cogs in a wheel at this point of society, which is just running us in a circle. It's like being in a hamster wheel, and sometimes we feel like there's no way out of it. But if we just stop running and ask ourselves the question, what do we want out of our lives? How do we live a life that is fulfilled? Maybe we'll get pointed in a different direction. So we were asking about what it takes to heal. How do we start our healing journey? And to be honest, there are different things for every person, but the one thing that I know for sure everyone must do is we need to examine ourselves. We need to recognize that there is a problem. There is a quote by Zig Ziglar that says, the first step in solving a problem is recognizing that there is a problem, recognizing that the problem exists. We all work on this unconscious, constant energy. Like I said, cogs in a wheel. We all work on this. And it takes a moment of pause, a moment of recognizing who we are. It takes us to actually maybe even fall or have a failure or have a tragedy to actually recognize that there's more to life than this wheel, right? There's more to our existence, and there's more to why we are here than the job we have. Our identity should not be defined by what we do. Our identity is actually defined by what we are. And I've heard this being said before, and it's true. It's been proven to me in my life that we are spiritual beings first. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if at no point in your life you've recognized that, then I hope that I'm opening you up to something new. When we live in the world, we always know that we're human. We bleed, we have pains, we have aches, we hurt, we break a toe, we have emotions, we fall in love, we get a job, we go to school. Whatever we do that proves to us, that lets us know that we're human, we're already doing those things. But not everybody comes across their spiritual side in life. Not everybody is able or directed towards spirit and towards the knowledge that spirit lives within us. And not everyone is directed to the understanding that you were born with spirit, and that spirit is everlasting. It is undying. Spirit has always been with us, and when we are breathed into the world, when we are birthed into the world, we are birthed with spirit. Spirit is there. Spirit surrounds us. Spirit is within us. God's spirit. It surrounds us. It is with us. It is within us. And we're back. I'm so sorry about that. So let's get back into it. What we were talking about was being born with spirit, and knowing that as human beings, we are spiritual beings first, spiritual beings that are having a human experience. And in having that experience is supposed to teach us how to go back to our spirit self. The experience is supposed to teach us to put our spirit self first, to put our spirit self in every situation, to work from spirit before we work from the base zone of humanity. We see a lot of tragedy in the world, and we wonder why some people are more prone to doing negativity than others. And we often ask ourselves, well, why is this happening? And the real reason why it's all happening is because there's so many of us who are in pain, who are struggling, who are enacting their pain out into the world. and they're not working from their spirit self. So I want to ask you guys a few questions to help you to find your spirit self, or to help you to focus. I'm sure many of the people that have been invited to this channel and that I've shared this channel with already have a sense of spirit, but some of you may or may not have started the journey towards self-understanding, self-healing. And even if you have, you may need a little nudge, or maybe you need to reconvene with yourself, or maybe you need some other perspectives to help you along the journey. I'm hoping that the questions that I ask you today will help you along that journey, okay? So the first question that we already asked was, how does one begin a healing journey? Well, you begin a healing journey through self-examination. You begin a healing journey. Well, of course, there's always multiple ways to get to a goal. What I have found is internal examination. Self-examination is one of the very powerful ways in which we become better selves. And when we ask ourselves, why do I feel this way? Where is this coming from? How did I get here? What caused this pain or anger? What caused me to ask this question or to have an attitude when, someone asked me a question? Where does this trigger come from? Many of us haven't started unpacking our childhood. Things happened to us when we were children that we never addressed, things that stick with us and that are in our body somewhere, or that are in our subconscious mind, and they are triggers, or they're reasons for our behaviors. I could give you a quick example. I grew up not without a lot of money, and I would get $100 to buy school clothes at the beginning of the year. And you could imagine $100 didn't take you very far, especially in an environment where wearing labels was the expectation or the norm. And I never wore labels, and I would make my $100 stretch because I would go to the thrift aisle, the clearance sections, I'd get the knockoffs, and I'd get like bags of clothes to last me the year. Everything was cheap and frail and could fall apart easily, but I would make it last at least through the year. But what that did for me, and what that did to me, was that as I became older, I was afraid to spend large amounts of money on single items or on small things. So I could buy all the knickknacks I wanted, all the little things that I wanted. If I saw $8 earrings, I could buy 10 of those. But I couldn't buy a $300 pair of shoes, even though I knew it was better quality and it would last me probably the rest of my life. I just didn't have the ability to spend large amounts of money on small items. And I was never taught quality over quantity because I had to make my money stretch. That still is with me. I still have to work on that. There are many things about me that I'm still working on. Perfection is never the goal. The goal is to be on the journey and to take every obstacle and every challenge along your journey to make you better, instead of reverting back to a weak state of being, which is where we are triggered and we lash out, or we underspend, we waste money, we waste money on trying to prove to ourselves that we have money. All these types of behaviors that come from our childhood that we've never analyzed. So if we've never unpacked our childhood, then our childhood will show up in our life over and over again. And we will continue to run this rat race of dis-ease and of a lack of healing. Another question that you might want to ask yourself is, what are my eating habits? What types of food do I put in my body? Am I nourishing myself? Am I nourishing myself properly? How often am I choosing what's healthy for me versus what I want? Sometimes discipline and sacrifice is what takes you to the next level of healing. Now, we all have different levels of discipline. Maybe you eat ice cream, french fries, and burgers all the time. So maybe by eating a chicken sandwich over a burger might be a level up. While some of us might only eat salads all the time, but we enjoy pizza every weekend, and maybe moving up for you might be to have pizza every other weekend or maybe once a month. There's different levels to mastering our greatest self or mastering the journey. But just know that every step you take towards mastering yourself or towards understanding yourself is a step on the path towards being your greatest self. And it comes with no judgment. It comes with no judgment whatsoever. Another question that I wanted to ask you, that I would like to leave with you, is how many of us have a personal relationship with the Most High? I'm sure my audience members, you guys, my community members, my family have a personal relationship with God. But you never know who out there is living without recognizing and having a deep or personal relationship with the Most High. Also, we don't know, is my relationship with God surface level? Is my relationship with God only so far as it's convenient to me? Is my relationship with God one in which I sit and I pray, or I meditate, or I sit in spirit and allow God to move me in the right direction? Or am I just saying, thank God, and moving on and still doing things that I know don't benefit me on my path? Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself these questions in the moment when you know you have a crossroad or an obstacle, or ask yourself these questions randomly when you're just doing your daily routine. Did I recognize God? Am I putting God first? Am I putting spirit above flesh? Ask yourself. So I'm going to come to a conclusion there. I want to leave you with, that was food for thought. That was something to chew on. Those questions that I'm asking you to examine in yourself. Have I properly unpacked my childhood? Am I eating properly? Am I exercising daily? That's a challenge for me. Am I having or developing or growing my relationship with the Most High? That's your something to chew on. That's your food for thought for the week. And that asking those questions and examining yourself can help you to stay on the path, be on the path, or get to the path towards being your best self. I am LadyBlack LightWorker. And I pray that you've received a blessing in this 20 minutes that we've been together. And I pray that you are able to use that throughout the week, throughout your everyday. I pray that you're able to transform yourself. And I pray that I am able to encourage you towards your greatest and highest self. I can't wait till next week. We're gonna keep this going. You have the questions, and if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. I will definitely answer them. And also, if you need to be encouraged with an encouraging word, write encourage or encouraging in the comments, and I will leave you a word. I love you. I respect you. I pray for you. Peace.